Okay, I'll call the Sparks City Council meeting of 3/14/16 with a roll call, please.
Mayor Martini, absent. Councilmember Ratty, absent. Councilmember Lawson.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Bybee. Here. Schmidt.
Here.
City Attorney Adams.
Here.
City Manager Driscoll.
Here.
We have a quorum, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Our invocation speaker today is Pastor Barb West, not Bob, Barb West from Sparks Nazarene Church. Welcome, Barb. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Would you all bow your heads in prayer with me, please? Our Heavenly Father, we just come to you today thanking you for another day. And we thank you for this great council that represents us here in the city of Sparks. You know all of the things that are going on in our community. You know about the construction that's going on and all of the planning that's taking place. And so we just call upon you to give wisdom to each and every one of these people that we have elected to lead our city into the future. We thank you for each one of them. Pray that they would all have the wisdom of God and good health as well. And so, Lord, as we do go forward to plan about all of the people that will be moving into our area, all of the things that are needed, we just pray that you would be Lord of all and give great wisdom to each and every one. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Barb. If you remain standing for the pledge, Charlene, would you lead us, please?
Yes. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is it all now?
Yes.
Okay, I'll open up public comment. I do have some cards here. Anybody wishing to speak, if you'd fill out a card and get it over to us, we'll call your name. Pat Cleams? Welcome, Pat. Did I say it right? Okay, good. Yes. Welcome.
I'm kind of new at this, so bear with me. My name is Pat Claims. I'm a 27-year resident of the river, and I just wanted to say I'm wholly in support of the bill. I think it's 2704, the camping ordinance. Yeah, 2704. I took a walk along the river with some people from the city of Reno the other day and was horrified. I mean, if we ever need an ordinance, it's this ordinance right now. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Thanks, Pat. Okay, Don Dixon. Welcome, Don.
My name is Don Dixon. I've been a resident of Sparks since 1973, my wife and I. I had a written presentation right now, but it went 3.5 minutes, so I've left copies of the clerk if you have the time to read it. Briefly, what it concerns is the electric grid, and by context, let me back up. I've retired twice in my career. Started out with Boomtown many years ago, and even before that, and worked for the successor of Boomtown, which is now Pinnacle Entertainment, a great company, national in scope. I retired in 2001. In 2004, they asked me to come back on a special project in Lake Charles, Louisiana, which I did, promising it was to be no more than a year. And it ended up, Katrina got in the way. So I worked on post-Katrina problems in the New Orleans area where we have a property for nearly 3.5 years. And I attest to you, I have never experienced, I would have never dreamed of watching an entire part of our country, region, nearly dying. It left a great impression on me. When I finally retired, 2008, I have a master's degree in economics, which doesn't matter except for context. So I went back to the books, looking forward to that. And I came across, shamefully so, I came across the fact that our national grid is on the edge, and I mean literally on the edge. It's frightfully so, frightfully so. If you have not already seen it, in my written presentation, I mentioned this, and I'm going to leave it for you. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Lights Out by Ted Koppler of Nightline for 26 years. He did a wonderful job, a very brave book. Please, if you've not seen it, please give it some attention. I've also recommended that the city attend a White House-sponsored conference near Denver, I think Bloomfield, but it's in the Denver area, on April 27th, on space weather and how to react, how to respond. Let me very quickly read to you the focus of the conference. It's frightening. The program will focus on a panel roundtable discussion of the updates of the National Space Weather Strategy and Action Plan that will be presented by Bill Murtaugh of the White House OSTP. Mr. Murtaugh will update us on the most recent action plan tasks and subtasks now being assigned various federal agencies. Goal 2 of the National Space Weather Strategy asks the, quote, whole of the community to begin planning and exercises for long-term regional and national blackouts. I want to read it again. Long-term, national and regional blackouts. This has profound implications for business continuity and disaster planning. Successful mitigation will require a higher level of local community sustainability, especially in lifeline infrastructures that include power, communications, water, sewer, health care, emergency management, and law enforcement.
Don, if you could wrap it up.
Yes. High-impact events may make it unlikely, I read this again, high-impact events may make it unlikely for outside help to arrive within 4 days, but instead might take more like 40 or 400 days. Roundtable respondents, and that's the end of my presentation. Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you very much, Don. Ardina Perry. Welcome, Ardina.
I just had my computer chair at home scoot out from under me, so I'm a little itchy. Well, I was going to tease Gino about the tax, but while we're here, I support the tax being raised. Just briefly on the record, that hasn't made me real popular, but we'll get it out there. I think if we want our city to run and maintain a level of infrastructure that we're used to, that we have to be willing to pay for that. And I also am here to support the camping along the river. What brings me here today, I was asked to come by some Sparks business people, and I thought I saw Chris at the meeting at the commission, but I wasn't sure. I was asked to come today because the commercial animal welfare permit, of course, did pass, and without any of the changes that Sparks recommended. So we do want to make sure that our Sparks businesses are not jeopardized and closed down. I have also been asked to address, and when I get through, I only had one copy, so when I get through, I'll just put it with Teresa for here. We need desperately to start enforcing our contract with Washoe County. With Washoe County, with Kevin Schiller, with John Slaughter, with the Board of County Commissioners on important things, and this person's writing in about it here. The things that we agreed to in the interlocal are not happening. In the past year and a half, a small group of us have been paying for indigent people to get their aging animals put to sleep. We have in the interlocal that Washoe County will provide for that. Now, whether or not they choose to, whether or not they choose to subcontract it or not, the reality is we, the city of Sparks, have, in good faith, contracted with Washoe County to provide owner surrender euthanasia. And this economy's been hard on a lot of people. We know we're going to lose Burley. It's going to cost us $600 to have my dog put to sleep. Now, 10 years ago, my husband was employed. You know, things change. And all of these people that we've had to have these fundraisers for are people that are retired whose dogs have been diagnosed as terminal. And both NHS and Washoe County have refused euthanasia, and these dogs have died really suffering deaths. So that's the interlocal. That's not the PSA. That's not anything between the county and NHS. That's between Sparks and the county. So if you could look into that, I think, you know, if the county's vendor chooses not to euthanize and the county chooses not to defend their contract, that's on them. But we as Sparks contracted with county to provide that service in the interlocal. So I think that's on us. And I'm most fortunate. I am able to care for my dogs as needed. And not me, but you know, it doesn't impact me directly, but it very well could. So I'll enter this just as what I was referencing. And good job, guys.
Thanks, Ardina.
You are such a cool council.
You can talk longer if you'd like. Okay, I don't have any other cards. Anybody else in the audience wishing to speak at this time? Okay, seeing none, we'll bring it back to the council. Looking for the agenda. Anybody want to pull anything? Mr. Lawson?
We want to move 9.1.
Right.
We're going to move 9.1 to the end after 9.6.
Okay.
And then other than that, we'll approve the agenda as published.
Okay, I have a motion?
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote. I'm not used to doing it this way. That was an aye, Mr. Schmidt?
Yes, sir.
Okay, passes unanimously. At least I think it does. There we go. Okay, let the record show that Ron Schmidt did vote aye.
Couldn't find the right.
Okay, so let's vote again on this thing and see what we can do. Julia's here.
I thought I saw a vote.
I know. Okay, please vote.
Aye.
1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Show the results, please. Okay, it passes unanimously. Thank you. That was tough. Okay, minutes, consideration and possible approval of the minutes of the regular Sparks City Council meeting of February 22nd, 2016. Any corrections, additions? Okay, looking for a motion. Mr. Lawson?
To approve the minutes as presented.
Okay, we have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Okay, show Mr. Schmidt as an aye. Okay. Okay, passes unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to announcements. We have a presentation from the Sparks Heritage Museum's annual report. Come on up, Doctor. How are you?
Thank you very much.
Good, good.
Get this up. Mr. Mayor, Pro Tem, council members, good afternoon. For the record, I am Dr. Richard Simmons, President of the Museum Board of Trustees, and other trustees in the audience today are Fred Wallacker, Dick Ryland, Donald Abbott, and our Executive Director, Kelly Reese. And we'll be happy to answer questions if anybody has any as we go through it. Here we go. This report today is going to be for calendar year 2015. Future reports will be based on the museum's fiscal year, which will coincide with the city's fiscal year, so we think it'd be cleaner. And thus the next report, which will be sometime this summer, will be about a 6-month report rather than an annual. just to give you that information. This slide is represented in your written report as Appendix D, but I put it here at this point because I wanted to highlight the item under March 2015, and when we hired Ms. Rice as our museum manager and since been promoted to executive director. I think if you look at this chart, as you see through the year, there's been a consistent increase in the use of the second floor of the historic library building, which I believe is largely due to Ms. Reese's success in recruiting exhibits and functions that use the facility. Our 2015 profit and loss report is presented in your written report as Attachment C. Please note that our operating expenses for the last 2 years have consistently been in the mid $40,000 range, and we have consistently finished, not by much, but we have consistently finished in the black. I'm very happy to report that. We could not operate without our volunteers. The number of volunteer hours reported here is noted as being minimum because I will guarantee you that particularly the trustees, but other volunteers, put many hours in at home and probably neglect to log them. And I'm guessing that this close to 5,900 hours is more representative, maybe 6,500 hours, just based on my own experience. Volunteer staff, the reception desk, they manage our archival library, assist with office operations, accomplish minor maintenance chores, and so forth. Shown here is museum trustee Fred Horlacher, who leads periodic bus tours of Northern Nevada, which usually fill within weeks after we advertise a new tour. So if any of you wish to participate in any of Fred's tours, please sign up quickly. The Bicentennial Train Exhibit. We had 4,196 visitors in 2015, of which 824 were on school or scouting tours or were children with adults. Museum volunteers, especially trustee Dick Dryland, dressed as a railroad conductor, provide regular tours on Saturdays at 1 o'clock, 1:45, 2:30, and 3:15, and usually keep the train open during special events in Victorian Avenue, such as Hot August Nights and the Rib Cook-Off. So you don't have to try and read the fine print. The percentage of people attending the museum and functions, 25% are from Sparks, 16% are other places in Nevada, 9% from Reno. California is 22%, other states 25%, and other countries 3%. And so total visitors more than almost, well, 6,975, close to 7,000, based on actual count recorded by desk receptionists. We give numerous school and community tours. Note the statement in the box, community tours are led by volunteer museum docents and are conducted without charge. I would also point out, and it's hard to see, because you can't see it, but in this display right here, in this exhibit right here, there is an N-gauge accurate model of the Sparks roundhouse that trustee Dick Dryland spent many years building and has donated it to the museum. Bringing art and culture into Sparks, in addition to the art exhibits and demonstrations, all illustrated, as illustrated here, the use of the second floor cultural center has included various meetings, presentations. We have swing dancers come in once a month, wedding receptions, graduation, and other school events, and so forth. So it's been well used, and we hope in the future it'll be even better used. Community involvement. As you see here, there's Mr. Dryland in his conductor's uniform on our 2015 Sparks Hometown Christmas Parade, which I would be amiss not to mention won the best float of the parade. I would also note that that's 3 years in a row we've won the best float, and we gratefully acknowledge Granite Construction for their sponsorship of our parade floats. I would also point out we won Best of Parade in 2013. Now, on the event we held with the Aces baseball group, we qualified to have one of our trustees throw out the first ball, and this is our treasurer, Frank Lawrence. And if you look real close, there's the ball, and I blew it up here, and if you look real close, another trustee, Donald Abbott, is a photographer, and he did so well, he got the Aces logo on the baseball in flight. And of course, I can't give an annual report without Last Chance Joe. Although Joe was installed in late fall of 2014, he obviously has been in place since 2015, and I think most of you recognize that we had some problems with Joe because probably during the move there were some external cracks that probably developed, and because of rain, water incursion, he was deteriorating badly. We hired a local restorer, Mr. Will Dorham. You see him here at work. And we brought up an expert from Warner Brothers for one weekend who had done these kind of statues in the past. And he, working with Will, developed the techniques that will preserve him. Will was able to get him stabilized for the winter. If you go by there now, you'll notice a lot of patchwork. As soon as the weather permits, we need reliable 60 degrees or above for the resins to set. He will finish the restoration and painting again. Once it's all completed, it should be good for another 50 years. So we're really pleased about that. I would also like to recognize Q&D Construction for their support in moving Last Chance Show from the Nugget to the museum. And we would be remiss in not recognizing Silver Wing Development, Mr. Rick Cheney, and Landcap Investments for sponsoring the restoration of Joe. And so we'll, hopefully by next summer, everything will look very good there. Those of you who travel, have been through Concourse C at the airport, will notice our exhibit. Thanks to Mr. Adam Mayberry of your staff, we were able to get this exhibit put in place. It's been there throughout 2015. And recently, the Doctor's Buggy was relocated to the Nevada Museum of Art and will be a featured part of the exhibit called The Horse, in quotes. And we will get acknowledgement as part of that. I also want to point out, as far as Sparks go, you see all these posters around the periphery of the exhibit. Here's 2 of them, 3 of them. We're highlighting the Sparks, the plane, the Spirit of Sparks, the Bicentennial Train exhibit, Glendale Schoolhouse, and so each one of these illustrates an event or a feature here in Sparks. We have no idea how many hundreds, thousands of people have seen it. I will tell you, every time I've been to the airport and gone and check it out, there's always been somebody there looking. So hopefully it's been fairly popular. I want to acknowledge Granite Construction's help in moving the Doctor's Buggy. That's been an exciting event, trying to lift that up to the 2nd floor at the airport and then getting it back down. Our archival research library, this is, as depicted here, will be along the north wall of the 1st floor changing gallery. It will allow people who are doing research a much more easy access to our archival files and a place to actually do their archival research. A donation from Transit Canada Corporation has allowed us to jumpstart this project, and we're now in the process of moving forward to install hopefully the first part. Sparks Historic Tours app. I don't have a smartphone, so this QR code means nothing to me. But anybody visiting Sparks who has a smartphone can click on that QR code, and you can see here the different stops along the way that they can actually do a self-guided tour of downtown Sparks. They also can, on the same site, access a virtual tour of the museum. So we're very proud about that. According to the reports we get, this has been a fairly active site. Nevada nonprofit license plate. Initially proposed by and conceptualized by trustee Dick Dryland, the design is meant to recognize Sparks as well as the Heritage Museum. We did that deliberately. We feel we'll have a broader interest than just the museum per se. The museum paid for $300 per year for the required $5,000 bond while we waited 3 or 4 years on the list to get accepted. It was finally approved by the Nevada Commission on Special License Plates on October 28, 2015. The Department of Motor Vehicles gets the last say as to what the actual design will be, and it's in their shops now there to determine what the design will be. As soon as they give the approval, we will be required to convince at least 1,000 car owners to order the new commemorative plate, and we'll have a year to do it. So obviously, we'll be asking for some help publicizing the Sparks plate. Assuming that we succeed in having 1,000 tags sold, the museum will receive at least $25,000 the first year and $20,000 every year thereafter if we continue to keep 1,000 plates sold. As you can imagine, looking at our budget, that's a huge chunk for us, and goes a long way to us developing a sustained financial plan. That leads me to where we're going. We're going to try to increase the frequency and expand both topic breadth and depth of programming, refine a financial strategy to attain sustainability, as I just mentioned, that's part of the plate plan, expand and improve facilities, and initiate a fundraising strategy to support operations and expansion goals. I would point out we've recently established an endowment fund with the Community Foundation of Western Nevada, and with an initial $10,000 donation from a Sparks resident, Mr. Charles Steiner, for which we're very appreciative. We've also looked into, once this fund is up and operating, I've also looking maybe to establish a capital improvements fund with the foundation also. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my report, and thank you for your attention. Be happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Ms. Bybee.
Dr. Simmons, on the Project for Last Chance Joe, sorry. Do you still need funds for that? I know you had, you could donate to Save Last Chance Joe. Is that still an ongoing, or do you have the funds you need?
We have a little bit of a problem because we've basically saved him. We think we've got the sponsors that are going to sponsor the restoration. But we're also committed to have a fund that helps maintaining. And so we're still selecting accepting donations towards this community foundation fund as hopefully a long-range plan to raise enough money that if we have to deal with graffiti, if we have to do minor repairs, we can do that. But I think the major funds have been accomplished.
Okay, and then another quick question, if I may, Mr. Mayor. On the license plate, when do you have any estimate on when those will be ready, and then how we can go ahead and spread the word on people being able to order them?
The DMV requires that we meet with them to actually go through and work on the design, but they will not tell us when we show up down there. We are supposed to go down in the order in which we were selected. We selected 4 plates this year, we're number 3. So it's going to be about a couple more months before you get to go down and finalize the design. And then we will start looking for people signing.
Can you give us your name for the record, please?
Yeah.
Can you give us your name for the record?
Oh, I'm sorry, my name is Dick Dryland.
Okay. Anybody else wants to come up and talk, please step up to the podium.
Yeah, I was going to say that it was Dick Dryland from the audience, who's one of our trustees, and he indicated to be likely several months because of the process.
Questions, anyone else? Mr. Smith?
Just a comment, watching the museum over the last couple of years, this past year, I think you guys have been out there promoting the museum, all of your volunteers, and probably the smartest move you made was to promote Kelly. So good going, keep it up. It's good to see that you guys are being aggressive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And again, we can't do it without the volunteers and the support from the council, which has been great, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, next is a presentation on One Truckee River. Come on up, ladies.
Yes.
All right. Hello, Mayor and council members. My name is Alex Hoft. I am an environmental steward with Keep Turkey Meadows Beautiful, Nevada Land Trust, and the National Park Service. And with me is Christy Chekarulu. She is Executive Director of Keep Turkey Meadows Beautiful. Today, we're going to speak with you a little bit about One Truckee River. One Truckee River is a collaborative partnership between Keep Truckee Meadows Beautiful and the Nevada Land Trust. It was developed about a year ago in an effort to create a Truckee River management plan for the length of the Truckee River. A couple years ago, Keep Truckee Meadows Beautiful realized that though there were a great number of wonderful organizations working together working on the river, for the river, and a lot of other good work happening along the river, there wasn't really that coordination or a management plan to kind of coordinate all of those efforts. At the same time, Nevada Land Trust has had experience developing and implementing plans and preserving lands along the river, adjacent to the river, so they are a natural partner with KTMB, Keep Turkey Meadows Beautiful, in developing and implementing a Truckee River management plan. So One Truckee River is working together for a sustainable, clean, thriving river community recognized in the hearts and minds of all for the treasure it truly is. It is a 3-phase management plan being developed for the river. Phase 1 is an 18-mile stretch from West McCarran Boulevard to the Truckee Meadows Water Reclamation Facility. That is what we are currently focused on. Phase 2 is from Tum Wharf to Pyramid Lake, and Phase 3 is from West McCarran Boulevard to State Line. Funding has been generously provided by those listed: the Truckee River Fund Grant, the National Park Service, Northern Nevada Water Planning Commission, REI, Washoe County State Question 1 Program, and the City of Reno. As you can see, we have a pretty big list of stakeholders. Now, on September 30th of 2015, we had a river forum. We invited over 120 stakeholders, representatives from these organizations who are listed, come together and talk about the Truckee River. There were 9 issue areas that they focused on. Those issue areas were quality of life, ecosystem health, water quality, stewardship, public safety, social issues, education, funding, and stewardship. And those are all focused on the Truckee River once again. So 120 stakeholders, 9 issue areas. That kind of gives us that broad area of expertise when it comes to looking at those different issues. Specifically, City of Sparks representatives at the forum were Kathy Cluitt. She was on the funding issue team. She is also a member of our core planning team. Councilwoman Julia Ratti, she was on the social issues group. Tracy Dominguez was on the recreation group. Lieutenant Pete Kroll and Sergeant Donnie Player, they were both on the public safety group.
All of these work by these more than 120 stakeholders has helped us to identify 4 focus areas. We want to promote and protect water quality and ecosystem health in the Truckee River. That's focus area number 1. Focus area number 2 is to create and sustain a safe and accessible river connecting people and place. Focus area number 3 is build an engaged and knowledgeable river community that protects and cares for the river. And focus area number 4 is ensuring the sustainable and collaborative management of the river today and into the future. Some of the key work happening behind the scenes with the Truckee River Management Plan is looking at policies and ordinances and realizing the efficiencies between jurisdictions. There, as Alex mentioned, we found that there's a lot of groups doing a lot of great things, but we want to focus on collaborative efforts and a philosophy for a framework for managing the river. The draft plan will be available during an open house that we've scheduled for June 7th from 4 to 7 p.m. We would love public comments and input. I know we've met with each of you individually. You're probably sick of hearing from us at this point, but we are getting close to having a draft management plan that we want to have public comments and input from. We have 31 objectives, and each objective has an action item to achieve this vision, and that is what we're hoping for public comments for. So we will be coming back to you in August with the plan, with the draft plan. We'd like to hear from you and find out if there's any other staff members that we should be engaging at this level to get their input and advice. And we are also asking the public, and of course you as elected officials, to take the One Truckee River Pledge. We have fancy buttons to pass out to everyone who takes the pledge. And the pledge states that in 2016, I pledge to do my part in promoting a clean, thriving, sustainable Truckee River for the benefit of current and future generations. And that can be something as simple as helping to conserve water, participating in a cleanup along the river, hosting an event near the river in partnership with the Riverwalk Merchants Association, or even liking us on Twitter or Instagram. Are there any questions?
Question? Doesn't look like it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Good effort. I know you met with all of us. That's probably why there's no questions, so. We appreciate it. We appreciate what you're doing. It's a good effort. Needs to be done, I think. The Truckee River is a great asset. We can't lose it, and we can't let it get messed up, if you know what I mean. So we appreciate all you do. Thanks.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to consent items 8.1 through 8.10. Anybody want to pull a consent item? If not, looking for a motion. Is Mr. Smith on the phone? Schmidt?
Yeah, he's on the phone.
Okay. Ms. Bybee.
I move to approve consent items 8.1 through 8.10 as submitted.
Second, or on Mr. Smith?
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Bybee, seconded by Mr. Smith to approve consent items 8.1 through 8.10. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Let the record show that Mr. Schmidt on the phone voted aye. Thank you. Okay, 9.1, we moved to the end, so let's go on to 9.2. Consideration and possible approval of an interlocal agreement to provide environmental control inspection services in the Sun Valley General Improvement District. Mr. Drinkwater.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. You have before you a request to approve an interlocal agreement between the City of Sparks and the Sun Valley General Improvement District to provide inspection services, environmental control inspection services. As you're probably aware, the City of Sparks has been providing these services to SVGID since 1987. It's come to our attention through a recent US EPA audit that there was language that needed to be added to the agreement, specifically to designate the Sparks officers as agents of the GID so that they could enter the GID and enforce the laws, and also to refresh the fee schedule so that the Sun Valley businesses would be subject to the same inspection fees that the Sparks businesses are. This was passed at the Sun Valley GID board meeting on March the 10th, last week, so it is before you now for your consideration. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Mr. Drinkwater? Okay, seeing none, look for a motion. Mr. Smith.
Move to approve the interlocal agreement with Sun Valley General Improvement District.
Do we have a second? Ms. Bybee.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Smith, seconded by Ms. Bybee to approve 9.2 as outlined by staff. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Aye. Passes unanimously. Mr. Schmidt is an aye. Okay. 9.3, consideration and possible approval of a purchase from Pacific Water Resources in the amount of $243,226 for one nitrification influent and one nitrification effluent pump for the Truckee Meadows Water Reclamation Facility. Mr. Drinkwater.
Thank you, Mayor Martini. I have our maintenance manager, Mr. Kim Labor, here is going to talk to you about this item.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council members. For the record, Kim Labor, Tum Wharf Maintenance Manager. Item 9.3 is a request to approve the purchase of a nitrification influent and effluent pump for the Truckee Meadows Water Reclamation Facility. I'd like to share some background details on the pumps. Tumwharf has 4 influent and effluent nitrification pumps at the plant. In the past, we've used 2 of the influent and effluent pumps as part of the process. That would allow us to pull 1 pump out and leave a redundant pump, which was what we call a 2+1. Within the last 18 months to 2 years, we've had some process changes at the plant to further treat for nitrogen, and it now requires that we run 3 influent and 3 effluent pumps at all times. This doesn't allow a pump to be removed for maintenance and leave us a redundant pump, which leaves us in a 3+0 situation. What I'm looking to do is purchase an additional influent and effluent pump and have them in inventory so that when a pump is pulled out, that it can be immediately replaced with the pump that's in stock. These pumps were budgeted and planned for in the Tumwharf 2015-2016 budget. And the other item is, you'll notice there are not multiple quotes in this request. This is a proprietary pump and needs to be purchased from Pacific Water Resources. And with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Questions? Okay, looking for a motion. Ms. Bybee.
I move to approve the purchase from Pacific Water Resources in the amount of $243,226 for 1 nitrification influent and 1 effluent pump.
Mr. Smith.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Bybee, seconded by Mr. Smith to approve agenda item 9.3. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Mr. Schmidt is an aye. Okay, thanks, gentlemen. Appreciate it. 9.4, consideration and possible approval to purchase a polymer from the Solinus LLC at the rate of 0.8426 per pound with an expected annual expenditure of $1 million for the Truckee Meadows Water Reclamation Facility. Mr. Drinkwater.
Thank you, Mayor Martini. Members of the council, you have before you a request for the treatment plant to change where we purchase the dewatering polymer. We currently buy it from Paladine Corporation. As you're aware, we are undergoing significant improvements at the plant, including the dewatering circuit as part of the Amoresco project. It was not unexpected that the old polymer with the old centrifuges does not work well with the new centrifuges. And while Amoresco continues to optimize and try to find the perfect polymer for us, they have pilot tested approximately 9 different chemicals. This particular one I'm requesting to purchase is the best so far. And what it will allow us to do is dependably treat the wastewater until Amoresco is finished with the project and we have a permanent solution. So a couple of things to point out. One, this is not new money. We're just requesting that we stop buying from Company A, start buying from Company B. It's 84 cents per pound, but it is before you because our annual expenditure is just above $1 million. So we wanted to make you aware of the request. And it is, we're looking to join onto a contract from the County of Los Angeles. And Solinus has guaranteed that price for us. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Mr. Drinkwater? Okay, looking for a motion, or Mr. Lawson.
Approve the purchase of the polymer from Solinus LLC.
Second? Mr. Smith.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Lawson, seconded by Mr. Smith to approve agenda item 9.4 in the discussion. Seeing none, please vote.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Mr. Schmidt, geez, is an aye on the phone. Wow. I washed my tongue today. I can't do a thing with my mouth, I'm sorry. Okay, 9.5 is a first reading.
Bill number 2703, an ordinance by the City of Sparks amending Chapter 15 of the Sparks Municipal Code to adopt the 2012 International Energy Conservation Code, IECC, and the 2015 Northern Nevada Energy Code amendments regulating energy-efficient building envelopes and installation of mechanical, lighting, and power systems, and providing for other matters properly related thereto.
Okay, 9.5 is a first reading for Bill number 2703. The public hearing and second reading of this bill will be conducted at the regular City Council meeting on Monday, March 28, 2016. 9.6 is a first reading.
Bill number 2704, an ordinance amending Chapter 9 of the Sparks Municipal Code by adding Section 9.48 prohibiting camping on public property in the Truckee River Corridor, providing other matters properly related thereto.
This is a reading for first reading of Bill number 2704. The public hearing and second reading of this bill will be conducted at the regular City Council meeting on Monday, March 28, 2016. Okay, let's go back to 9.1, Mr. Cruz.
Good afternoon, Mayor Martini and members of the Sparks City Council. For the record, Neil Cruz, Deputy City Manager. Here today to talk to you about the 2 seats we have been put on the Western Regional Water Commission. If it's the pleasure of the council, I would like to address the 2 separately, starting first with the one that is the direct appointment from the Sparks City Council. You'll all recall that the Western Regional Water Commission was created in the 2007 legislative session. We negotiated an interlocal agreement and kicked it off in April of 2008. And the City of Sparks has 1 seat that it gets to place an elected official on there. Most recently, it's been Councilwoman Bybee. That term will be up the end of this calendar month, and she is eligible for a second or a renewed term. I frankly don't know how many years that we've been on at this point in time, but they are 2-year terms, and it has to be an elected official. So it has to be one of the 6 from Sparks. And with respect to how members are chosen for that commission, we are allowed to include the mayor as one of the possible appointees, even though he's not a voting member of the Sparks City Council. With respect to choosing that, it's one of the 6 of you. So with that, I believe Councilwoman Bybee would like to be reappointed, and we'd ask you to act on that one first.
Okay, look, questions. Mr. Smith.
I'll make a motion.
Whoa.
Must be that play in my head. I move to reappoint Councilmember Charlene Bybee, Regional Water Commissioner from Sparks City Council to the WRWC, term to expire March 31st, 2018.
Do you have a second? Moved by Mr. Smith, seconded by Mr. Lawson to approve Charlene Bybee as the Sparks City Council representative to the Western Regional Water Commission. Any further discussion? All in favor, but please vote. Mr. Schmidt on the phone is an aye. Passes unanimously. Okay, Mr. Cruz.
The other position that we have input on is a position that represents the Truckee Meadows Water Reclamation Facility. And so that's a facility, as you well know, we own jointly with the City of Reno. So the position there needs to be agreed upon by both councils. So you'll see the alphabetical listing of all elected officials from both Reno and Sparks as the potential pool of candidates there. Historically, since the committee was set up, both councils have approved our mayor, Gino Martini, to be the representative from Tumworth on that 9-person board. And that's with that seat expiring March 31st of this year as well. We've placed on your agenda today. Reno City Council acted on it last week, and they did not vote to have Mayor Martini continue to be the member. The comments that were offered up as they move forward to recommend a member of their own city council recognize that 2/3 of Tumworth is owned by the City of Reno, that Reno has never had the seat, and that the City of Reno needed to have stronger representation on the Western Regional Water Commission. With those 3 points made, they did unanimously vote in Paul McKenzie to be their choice as the member for that seat. We certainly have a mayor who would like to be reappointed, and that is certainly the staff recommendation here today. And with that, I would be happy to answer any questions.
Questions, Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Neil. It's my understanding that if we appoint the mayor again, that it would be, because they appointed somebody else and we appoint the mayor, that it would stay just like it is? Or does it go back to them? Or how does this end?
Actually, the way it would resolve immediately is Mayor Martini would serve out the rest of his term through the end of this month, and then the seat would go vacant. My understanding from talking with our city attorney's office is they reviewed the state law that created this and, reviewed the interlocal agreements that we've been able to get to date, is then since we have not decided and agreed on who that seat should be, it would go vacant. And then you only have 8 out of 9 seats on the Western Regional Water Commission filled.
Ms. Reddy?
Does the city of Reno also have an individual seat?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
And who is that?
I believe it is Naomi Dewar, the current vice chair.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, I'd like to chime in here. I was asked to be on the Western Regional Water Commission when it started. Okay, I had nothing, didn't know anything about it, nothing, been on it since it was in its inception, 2007. The concern I have here, I don't have a big ego by any means that I have to be on the Western Regional Water Commission, but the concern I have here is, had the city of Reno let us know that they wanted more representation, had they contacted me or you or any of us, I wouldn't have a problem with this. But problem I have with this is the same problem I have with them getting too much power on Tumwa. What's happening here is they're trying to control property growth by taking the water hostage. And if you don't believe me, listen to some of the Tumwa meetings that we have gone through recently. So this concerns me that they have more power at this time. As far as them owning 2/3 of the power, I understand it. Tumwa, I understand it. But let's face it, Sparks probably does 95% of the work. We run it daily, and they let a few contracts for some public work stuff. We run the sewer plant. So you're smiling. You don't think we do that much work, right? Yeah. So where the representation should go, I have no idea. But we run it, so we do have a bigger stake in this than really they do. So again, this is not an ego thing for me. This is a concern I have about one. And Ron, you're on Tumwa, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. Every time we talk about water plans and this plan and that plan, we always they want to start tying it to land approvals, and that's not what Tumwa is for, and it's not what the Western Regional Water Commission is for. Again, this thing has run its course. It was started because they wanted an oversight committee that would look at the consolidation, or C word again, the consolidation of Washoe County Water Resources and Tumwa. That's happened. It's running great. It needs no more oversight. The few things that Western Regional Water Commission does now, I talked with Mark Forey, the manager of Tumwa. Tumwa can do this. So all I'm looking for is to get rid of that Western Regional Water Commission, fold it into Tumwa. Then we have one less board. We have less. The staff that is over there, 3 people, can be taken on by Tumwa, and we can go on with life with one less commissioner, one less board to have to meet, and staffs to prepare agenda items for, and all that good stuff. So again, just concerned about the power move here. Had they contacted me and said, or you guys, and said, look, we think we should have that seat for a while, I'd have said, fine, go for it. But the backdoor stuff, I don't like. So. Questions, Mr. Smith?
No, I agree with everything you just said, especially the backdoor stuff. I don't disagree with the city of Reno that maybe they should have a shot at that seat for a while, but not to do it in this way. So down the road, if they want to contact the city of Sparks and talk about it, I don't think it could be a problem. As a matter of fact, Western Regional may not be around in a year or two, so just because of what the mayor said on Tumwa. So the way it was done, completely wrong. That's not the way you do things.
Mr. Lawson.
Where does this end then, Neil? So now the seat's vacated, they don't change we don't change our mind? Where does it end?
In as much as it's a political question and not a legal one, it would only end if the politicians chose to end it.
So that seat could in essence remain vacant forever?
Yes, sir.
Which gives you a 4-4 tie?
Yes, sir.
Which means no action gets taken at all?
Perhaps. That is a potential outcome to votes.
this obviously has more ramifications than what I was aware of reading this item. I'm going to trust the mayor and Mr. Smith that they're absolutely correct, but at the same time, I like to do my homework, and so I'm inclined to vote for the mayor to vacate the seat at this point, and I might change my mind down the road, but right now, I agree that if someone would have talked to me about it and explained why it is or it isn't a good idea, I might have a different opinion, but right now, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right. And a lot of what we do up here is doing the right thing, and if it doesn't feel right to me, I can't go along with it.
Ms. Bybee?
I would agree with what the mayor has stated. And in addition, I think the fact that he's been on this commission and knows the history and has his knowledge base for everything that has happened, with the Water Commission and TUMA and TUMWRF, and I think his knowledge base is too valuable to lose. I don't think that Councilman McKenzie was elected when I was, and I don't think his background or experience can match what the mayor can bring to the table. I don't like the way that it was brought through the back door. I agree with the mayor and Councilman Smith on that. That's not the way that we should be doing business, but I really think the valuable, what the mayor can bring to the table is important to have there, and I would support keeping the mayor on the commission. And if it does go vacant, there's also looking at whether the Water Commission will be here in a few months or in a year. So if that does go vacant, this might be very short term, but I think on a matter of principle, I absolutely need to support the mayor and keeping him as our representative. Thank you.
Mr. Schmidt, any comments?
I'm shocked.
Why?
I would have never expected Reno to do something like this. I just agree with everything the council said. This is just, this is a sign of the times. We're back again. Beware consolidation. It's an evil thing that's trying to lurk and set up everywhere. So I support appointing to the mayor of it. Let it sit, and we'll work it out in the future.
Okay, any other questions, Mr. Smith?
Motion.
Okay, go ahead.
I move to reappoint Sparks Mayor Gino Martini as the TUMWRF Commissioner to the WRWC. Term expires March 31st. Did you say 16 or 18?
The current term expires this month.
Okay,
The
so
new term would
this is
expire
for the
in
new
18.
term.
Yes, sir.
Okay. March 31st, 2018.
Ms. Bybee?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Smith, seconded by Ms. Bybee to approve myself as the representative of WRWC. Any questions? Seeing none, please vote.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Mr. Schmidt on the phone is an aye. Okay, thank you, appreciate it. Where are we going? Okay. Closed door session, Steve?
No, sir.
Bonus. Comments from the public? Comments from the city council and city manager? Whoa. Okay. Seeing no further business, we are adjourned.